Cool.
Hey guys, welcome to the WarrZone. This is where we talk about addiction and recovery and everything in between. Real stories, real talk, no bullshit. This is our first guest on the podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, be easy name to remember. My name is also Warren.
That's right, Warren Squared. Yeah, and we met through recovery, and it was actually pretty cool how we met.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so we met actually at work at a mill close to town. And then I think you had Pokemon stickers or something on your hard hat.
Yeah.
That I commented on, and then we're in the elevator and we're chatting, and then before we separate, we're like, "What's your name?" Like Warren. Like, no way, my name's Warren. Mm-hmm. And then I think it was only like a few days later, I ran into you at the Wednesday meeting here in town, right? And they're like, "Oh, no way!" And then so began our friendship. I think actually too, we were wearing the same outfit, like brown pants and black shirt.
We were sitting symmetrically across from each other, like the room layout. We were wearing the exact same thing, completely across.
Yeah. So then I think it was you that said like, "Oh, maybe that's why we vibed so quick, just having recovery." And then you were just shy of a year clean, I think, when we first met, right? Mm-hmm. And we've stayed in pretty steady contact since. So
yeah, for sure. Like at work and recovery, and like even living in separate places, like pretty consistent with the connection and the communication.
Yeah. So really thanks for having me here on your pod.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for all the help. We're greatly appreciated. I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm rolling with it. I'm really grateful for your support and all the support that you guys are giving me. And we start off with talking about, I don't know, maybe what it was like in active addiction and like what it's like now in recovery. Mm-hmm. Maybe some key points of like, what was the moment, the defining moment or defining moments of bringing you into recovery?
Mm-hmm. Like step one kind of. So I grew up in a pretty affluent area. I was pretty fortunate. I had two great parents, right? I'm third of four siblings. So like by all accounts, like I should have, escaped the addiction, if you think, right? Like it comes for everyone, right? It doesn't matter where you're from. And like, I'm a real testament to that. Like I had a very idyllic childhood. Like vacations, like Disneyland once a year kind of thing, or Hawaii. Grew up in like one of the most beautiful cities, and then Deep Cove, especially where I grew up in Vancouver, like in the springtime, you can like wakeboard during the day and ski at night, all within like a 15-minute drive from my parents' house, right?
That's
like,
sick.
Mount Seymour right there, and then Deep Cove right on the water. And then, but like growing up, I kind of always just felt out of place, I guess. I didn't necessarily, I fit in kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I never like really knew which way to go. Like I was like pulled towards sports, but I didn't really like them. And I really liked to isolate and play video games and read. And I used to draw quite a bit too before I fell into addiction. And then obviously puberty hits, and then you're like all types of awkward, right? And my like growing body, and then like puberty hit me like a brick fucking wall. Like acne, braces, the whole shebang. So it was just super awkward, and I was a really bright and like outspoken kid, but then around like 13-ish, I kind of reverted. I got really shy and like self-critical, and I lost a lot of that light, and that was about the time I kind of found the people using, right, in the smoke pit. At school, and I think it was like third day of grade 8 or something like that. It was my first time smoking weed, and then I thought I like found my people and found acceptance, and then every feel like couple of months I was trying something new, and I thought I wanted it, and it was me in control the whole time, and so for years, right, it was just in the moment you think it's like a slow descent, right, but when you can take a step back from it, right? Mm-hmm. It was a pretty steep decline. And then harder drugs. And like I went to university, I dropped out because I prefer just cooking. I thought was like my calling, right? But it was because I could use at work and get away with it. And I moved out way too early. I wasn't like ready for it. I didn't have any foundation, but like my parents wouldn't let me use at home, right? So like I was like, okay, I'm out. And so moved out and I struggled for a long time. There was like months where like had no money for food despite working in a kitchen, and I'm like making like sriracha and saltine cracker sandwiches just so I had like food in my stomach before I would go to sleep. And
Pause. And we're back. We had a
technical difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so I struggled for a long time, dropped out of university, thought cooking was my calling. I moved to Alberta. That was a whole thing on its own. And that's where I met my son's mom. And after like years of lying and closeting my addiction, essentially, it was like 4 years with her. We got pregnant here in Vancouver. And eventually, like, I couldn't keep up with all the lies and the webs, right? And eventually got to the point where it was like undeniable, and I was totally caught using somewhere I said I wasn't at. And yeah, I thank God now. But she had the strength to leave me despite being 6 months pregnant, right? And then so after that whole mess, obviously I went on a bender to like mask and try to push down those feelings of like failure and like poor me and blah, blah, blah. And then eventually I kind of had a moment of clarity, and I was like, am I going to be that type of father, right? When I had such good parents, like what would they think about me? Like what would I think about myself if I was just that, right? So after a couple of days of hard using, I called my family, and I got myself into treatment. And luckily my brother, he's a couple years ahead of me. And so
Couple years in recovery?
In recovery, yeah. And so yeah, I knew who to call. I always knew where to go, right? But I couldn't take accountability. I couldn't realize it was like I was the problem. And I couldn't realize that I wasn't in control, right? Because I thought I was unique, right? And then when I opened up that blue book for the first time, and you hear everything we do, right? Like changing cities, changing jobs, changing friend groups, changing like what you use, to like thinking like I could smoke weed or like only drink, and I wouldn't use hard drugs, but I tried everything that book did, and I thought I was the first person coming up with that idea to do that, right? And then like I moved to Fort McMurray, thinking I would get clean in Fort Mac, right? Like, but it wasn't about that. I was just running constantly. And then so yeah, when I finally was ready to put my hand out, like I said, like I knew who to call and where to go, and got myself into treatment. And by the grace of God, like I'm a one and done. Like my first white fob I ever took was the last one. I'm like 7.5 years clean now.
Heck yeah. Congratulations.
And yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of ups and downs. It's not like I've taken like a steady trajectory upwards. I've made tons of mistakes. I've hurt people. I've lied. I've cheated. I've ruined relationships. I've used women. Like, I'm not like, just because you stop using drugs, like, and get a couple years clean, doesn't mean your life just magically becomes like perfect, right? There was a lot of behaviors I had to deal with, and a lot of accountability I still wasn't taking in the first couple of years, right? There was a suicide attempt or an almost suicide attempt at 2.5 years clean, when I was like isolating and working out of town and prioritizing the wrong things, and like I hadn't done a meeting in months, right? And then my life was spiraling, and I couldn't figure out why, right? It's because I stopped doing recovery, right? And there's been a couple of times where I would like get offended or build resentment against the program or somebody in the program, and then like I'd stop doing meetings, and the same thing, and I start spiraling, going out of control. And I've heard somebody else say recently, like I'm the same way. Like I have done everything wrong in this program except use drugs, right? And then it was about like 6 years clean, where it was like the last spiral I had, where I finally could like take the step back and see the pattern for what it was, and could see all the patterns I kept repeating, and like in addiction and clean, right? Like, and say it was like 4 years with my son's mom, turned into 3 years with the girlfriend in between her, to 2 years with my daughter's mom, to 1 year with the girlfriend in between that. And then it was the same pattern. And it was just taking less and less time. And it's the same thing with like using, right? Like your relationship with drugs, right? Like you just swap one out for a harder one, right? And it just takes less and less time to completely tank your life. And so it was like almost 2 years ago now that I recommitted for the last time, and I finally have like come around to the fact like this is the only thing that's fixed my life, recovery, 12-step programs of any fellowship, right? I've done steps in multiple, and it's just keeping up with the basics, right?
Keeping it simple.
Keeping it simple, right? Like meetings, sponsoring, step work,
Home group,
right? Service. I'm really big on service. Service is where I find my passion, right? I serve at like my home group, area, and regional now, right? And that's where I've kind of found like my calling within the program, and I love sponsoring. I've got a few sponsees now, right? And the one piece that I was missing and I was pushing away for so long was the faith aspect. And then, I don't know, my dad grew up Catholic, and we did church a little bit when we were kids, but we all like revolted against my parents, and then we stopped going as a family. And then so I just kind of had this weird aversion to the word God for a long time. But then this last time, my sponsor is like Mexican Catholic, right? Like real Catholic. And
real Catholic.
yeah, and every time we would do steps, and like you'd have to pray after like every step together, and like literally on your knees, like real Catholic boys, right? That's the way he does it. And then I finally just came into it an open mind and actually started praying, and I prayed for like challenges. I prayed for bringing people into my life that I could learn from. I prayed to like help people. And then literally like within like a week after doing that, I had multiple people from my past reach out for help, right? And it was the biggest like slap in the face, right? Like God shot, right? Like 3 close friends I hadn't talked to in probably like 15 years, that were like ride or dies back in like high school, right?
Wow.
But like reach out and be like, dude, like I see you on it, like on social media, like what are you doing? Because I don't really share on, like I posted, the only recovery posts I've done are 1 year and 5 years, right? Like my fob for that. Like I don't really post on social media too much about my recovery, and not out of anonymity. I just don't want to be like that guy. Look at me. I feel like my cake and taking a fob is enough recognition for me.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't need to be in the spotlight. Like, needs to kind of be an overachiever, but I'm happy with like 4th place. You know what I mean? Like,
Nice.
I don't need to be on the podium, right? Yeah, so like my life nowadays is great, right? I have my ups and downs still, but like I actually use the tools and I know where to go, right? I'm consistent at my home group. I got like my sponsor bet me I wouldn't do a 10 and 10, and I did a 90 and 90 at 6 years clean,
Hell yeah.
right? And then
A 90 and 90 is...
90 meetings in 90 days,
Yeah.
for anybody who doesn't know,
It's suggested.
in your first 3 months, right? Because it's next to impossible not to make a friend if you're showing up to 7 meetings in 7 days a week, right?
And that's like a guaranteed, almost guaranteed hour of your day that you're likely to stay sober or clean, whatever thing you pick.
Yeah. But yeah, so I got my meetings that I hit consistently. I found 3 meetings a week right now is what I can work, right? Because I mean, like I'm a parent, I work full time, right? There's responsibilities, but like everything's kind of built around my recovery schedule now. And then anytime there's a cake, I'll hit that, right? And yeah, so I keep up with that. I have a really great sponsee who is like holding me accountable. We meet every week for step work. I have a great relationship that's like very recovery focused. All my friends are in recovery. Like I have 2 friends like from high school, essentially. Like one is like pretty heavy in addiction. That like whenever he's ready to help, I'll be there, right? And my other friend is just straight normie. But aside from that, is all my friends, everything's in recovery, right? My brother's in there, my daughter's mom's family's, like a bunch of them are in recovery, right? And everything's just kind of built around that community now. And it's when you hear people share about like a new way of life, like it literally is, right? Eventually your whole life, like you put enough energy into it, and then that's just like you want, like that's where my social circle is, right? They're at meetings, right? They're out doing activities together. They're like, we're doing a camp out, the spring clean camp out that's coming up, right?
And like that sounds like fun in recovery. Like
Yeah.
that sounds like doing fun things without being under the influence.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the biggest thing too, because I was a chef for 14 years before I got clean, and that was the thing, right? You get off work and you go to the bar and you go to shows and your festivals and like dancing with strangers essentially, right? And I'm like, how? And then I was so shy without using, right? And then I'm like, how am I ever gonna have fun without drinking and drugging? And then I think it was about a year clean when I went to my first show with my brother and a couple of his friends at the Commodore. And I was kind of worried because it's a bar, right? But I was with clean guys, right? And it was Death from Above 1979. And I had an absolute blast, right?
Fuck
And then
yeah.
after the show, like we went and grabbed some food on Granville. I was home by 11, had a great sleep, and I went to work the next day.
Yeah. How'd you feel the next morning?
Yeah, and there's no shame. I wasn't scrolling through my Snapchat blackout stories
Right.
of everything like just revolting that I'd done.
Checking the fucking bank statements.
Yeah,
Like
right?
how much
Like-
money did I spend?
Yeah. So and then after that, I was like I had the paradigm shift of like, no, you can do this. You can have fun, right? And I done a lot of service with the activities community, right? Planned events, been part of events. We do boat cruises. We do like a Halloween, New Year's, quite big. Yeah, like it really is a new way of life, and it sounds like woo-woo culty bullshit when you first come in, right?
That's the truth.
But like eventually, I don't even know when I drank the Kool-Aid, to be honest, right? Because I will admit, like initially when I went to treatment, when I put my hand out to get help, like I wanted to get help, but like there was a big part of me too, was just like a manipulation, right? Like I was just gonna do my 90 days in treatment and I was gonna get out and then I was gonna hide my using again like I've always done, right? And I don't know when that shift happened, but like when I got out of treatment, like using wasn't like on my mind in the sense of like to the level I had. Like obviously you still have using thoughts and like using dreams in your first couple of years.
Oh,
but
using dreams. Holy fuck.
I know.
That's a
yeah.
thing.
That's a whole nother shift too. It's like you wake up in the beginning, you're like, ah, shit, like that was so good. And then, but now if I ever have a using dream, I'm like, oh my God, thank God that was a dream.
Yeah, no, I feel gross. I had one morning and it fucked me up for the first 15 minutes of my day. I thought I was using until I like clicked in. I was like, oh, that was a dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it really took me back, and I was like, yeah, like it's true. Again, in my experience, what they say is like addiction is progressive, and it's like if I'm not working on myself and my recovery, addiction's only going to get stronger.
Yeah.
Right.
And we can get addicted to anything, right? Like I see you can make healthy habits unhealthy so quickly, right? Like I did that with the gym.
The gym, yeah.
I did that with work, right? I started travel working like a week after right before my first year. It was my first out of town job in Prince George. I went out with my whole class, my boiler making class, and it was like a 3-week job. And after that point, it was like I was out of town so much, right? And I didn't I didn't keep up with the basics, and I prioritized making money so I could send my son's mom money and then start going to see him more. And but I wasn't, right? I was literally just like working to pay bills, and I completely forgot about like everything I had done in that first year, right? Because when I got out of treatment, I moved in with a couple of staff from the place I went to, and one of which is my brother's best friend, who I grew up with. Like a lot of my first times were with him, right? Like,
That's cool.
yeah. And then he was a huge gremlin, and that was the one thing. I'm like, if Ryan can get clean and turn his life around, like anybody can, right? So, and he stuck with the place I went to, and he worked there for years. But anyway, so I moved in with them. My parents helped me out with rent, so I could go to school. My schooling for boilermaking initially was 6 months, right? So I did my 6 months there. And then when I finished school, the guy kind of like ran the house. He was like, gave me the like, okay, I think you're good, man. Like go
Spread your wings.
spread your wings.
Yeah.
And I moved in with my best friend's Ejaz, and we got like a little 2-bedroom. And we moved in, we had zero furniture. We had camping chairs in the living room and a laptop on a fucking rickety coffee table for like a while, right? And then we like slowly built it out. And then we lived together for the first like almost 2 years after that. So I guess like right before I got 3 years clean. And yeah, just like slowly started building my life up from like literally nothing. And yeah, I mean, like there's parts of my life that like I don't like I don't get to see my son enough, right? It's super expensive to like fly up to Fort Mac, and living expenses here in BC are so like I'm like I've been working to pay bills, and I'm just like I've just slowly been getting ahead, but like not really.
Canada's brutal right now.
Yeah, it's not fair, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And I keep just trucking along, and there's a bit of separation now. He's getting older, and he's kind of like realizing like, why aren't I there as much? And I haven't been able to tell him like why I'm in Vancouver, right? He's 7, so he's not quite old enough to grasp like addiction and drugs, right? But where he's growing up, he'll have a crash course in it like younger than most, right? And then when that time comes, like I'll have the tools to deal with it, right?
100%.
And one day he'll be able to come here, and I'll be able to take him to a meeting, and he'll be able to see like I'm one of the fortunate few. Kids don't keep you clean by any measure, right? I know a lot of parents in here that struggle, that have been in and out for a long time, and like no judgment, right? Like everybody's journey is different, right? For me, my son was what I needed to like jumpstart recovery. Right? And I have a lot of pride in the fact that I can say I've been clean longer than my son's been alive. And his mom doesn't get addiction. She's not an addict. She's the type of person who could smoke a pack of cigarettes and then just not have one for 2 years.
That blows my fucking mind.
So
I've never been like that.
when we were together, and when all this kind of came out and she started asking me about it, she's like, why can't you just not drink, and why can't you just not do cocaine and everything else, right? And it was like I have asked myself that question so many times, 2 inches from the mirror, right? Like, why can't I do this, right? On my own. Why do I need all these things? And I didn't have an answer, right? That was way before I ever got clean. And so she's like, to this day, doesn't really understand it, right? Doesn't respect it. But I know what I'm doing is the right thing, because I'm a better dad, clean, than risking everything, especially my recovery, to like be a little closer to him, right? And that sacrifice is, he's growing up without a dad. I'm missing his childhood, right? But that's a sacrifice I made, and I have stayed clean because of that, right? In spite of that, maybe, I don't know, right? But I know in the future, I have faith, like he will, one day, I'll be able to tell him like why I had to stay here, right? And maybe he'll forgive me, maybe he won't, right? But I wasn't willing to risk being clean and becoming just a total deadbeat, right?
Well, yeah, because if you go back out to active addiction, he's not going to have a father, period.
Yeah, and like the way I used to, right? Like I joke about like I went into rehab with like a bachelor in cocaine, and I came out with a doctorate in like fentanyl and like all these research chemicals that I didn't know about, and like, yeah, like I learned way too much that I shouldn't have learned, right? So I like, that's honestly like the thought of that's kept me clean, because like if I go out, it will be way worse, and I don't know if I'd come back, right? And I'm not talking about just like being like I'd probably die, right? And I've had somebody I work with like who's just like, oh, you're just brainwashed, like you'll be fine. Like I just go out and I just take a line, and I'm like, then I don't do it. I'm like, again, it's just like people who have no addiction in their family, have never dealt with it. They can't fathom it, right? And I don't have to explain myself to anybody. I know I'm doing the right thing. And yeah, so one day I'll be able to share that with my son, and again, just have faith that it's going to work out. And if it doesn't, it's okay, because I know I've done right by him the best I can, right?
To the best of your ability.
Yeah.
Right? And what they say about the program is progress, not perfection.
Yeah. A lot of people use that as a fucking cop-out, I find, way too often, but...
Yeah, I mean, well, it all comes down to the individual in the program. You either, you get out of it about what you put in it, right? Like, it's going to work if you work it. Like you'll probably hear that a lot at meetings.
Yeah.
But it's
all
the
the
fucking
sayings.
it's the fucking truth.
Yeah. I mean, every saying that I thought was like
Bullshit.
and then I'll say it, meaning it. And I'm like, fuck.
I know, they're one of those preachy motherfuckers, right? But like half measures availed us nothing.
Yeah.
Like that's a fucking fact. Like trying to half-ass anything. Archie, hey, get up here. Come on. Having some more technical difficulties here.
That's okay.
Archie, get up.
He's chilling. Yeah. So recovery has changed my life, right? I used to say like, I wish I did this earlier, blah, blah, blah. But if I didn't wait until the moment I got clean, who knows if I would have stuck around, right? Like everything happens for a reason. Again, all these stupid sayings, right? Like everything happened as it should. It's not perfect. Like there's a lot of things I'd like to change, but like my life right now is really great. Like, again, like I have an amazing relationship with a woman like I truly love and respect, which I haven't. I feel like that was my biggest issue. Like I didn't respect myself. I didn't love myself. And therefore I didn't respect or love partners in past, right? And I would fuck terrible things, right? I was an awful partner and then I couldn't take accountability. So in my mind, I would skew it of like in some kind of resentment buildup, whatever, right? But I've done a lot of work in that area of my life, right? And then when I was like ready for something real, right? It found me and me and Shay kind of grew up like parallel to each other in the same area in North Van, but like we never really crossed paths. But we have the same kind of friend circles from back in the day. And then, yeah, it turns out we're both just perfectly, our autism's kind of like synchronized with each other, right?
Jigsaw puzzles that match.
And she's great with my daughter. She hasn't been able to like meet my son physically, but she's met him on like video chats. And yeah, like we have like a great home, right? I live close to work. I work at a job that I enjoy. I work with a bunch of friends of mine from like my boiler making community in the shipbuilding community, right? Yeah, so it's like my life is, and like I'm off work at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
If I don't want to work overtime, right? So it's like, my life is pretty idyllic now, right? And there's always going to be things you want to change, right? But like, if my 16 or 17-year-old self could like see the life I'm living now, he'd be like, holy shit, this is great, right? If only you skipped all the fucking shit leading up to it, right? But
yeah, I mean, sometimes I think like that too, but at the same time, like, I mean, it brought me here to this moment, right? And like, this is amazing for me. Hopefully it's going to be amazing for, someone listening if they're struggling or not, or just, if you find you hear anything that gives you maybe some hope or some guidance or, whatever it is you take from it. I look back at my life and I'm like, woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I'm like, well, I can't build a fucking time machine. Like, I really can't, right? I can't jump into the fucking future. The only thing I have right now is this moment and what I can do today to make me a better version of myself than I was yesterday. And if I do that every day, consistently, then I'm going to be a lot fucking better than I was when I was in active addiction.
yeah.
Right? And from your story, like something that I took from it was like, it sounds like, recovery is a lot more than just putting down the drugs and alcohol, right? Like with the patterns and the behaviors.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because once you get clean and then I still kept repeating the same shit I was doing. I joke too. It's like people always are so worried about their first step forward and all the things they did in addiction. I'm like, dude, that's the easiest thing to apologize for. Like, drugs were taking the wheel. Like, yeah, sure, it was you, right? But like, at least you have that buffer.
Yeah.
Like when you're apologizing to your mom or your dad about like stealing money and lying to them, right? Like, you have drugs as a buffer. What really sucks is writing a step forward when you're 5 years clean and you have to go make amends to somebody for being a total piece of shit, clean. And there's nothing to blame but you, right? And I've done that multiple times. And it took me multiple times to like realize like I keep doing the same thing. Like, I don't have drugs as an excuse anymore. Like, I have a mentor. He's like 30 years clean. He's in the metal trades and pretty hardcore dude. And he's like, I give people like a 5-year buffer. Like, you can be a total goof for like the first 5 years, but like after that, if you're still doing the same shit, like you're circling a drain and you're not going to stick around, right?
Yeah.
And he told me that at about like 4 or 5 years clean. And I was like, shit, like I don't take this for granted anymore, right? And I have in the past, right? And I have come close to ending it all, right? And
ending it all means
yeah, like killing myself,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And then like one more thing I want to touch on too, to like anybody watching this, right? Like recovery is for everyone, right? By all accounts, from the outside of my life, like I looked like a normal person, right? Like I had a job, rent was paid. I was with a girl for like 3 years, right? Because I was really good at masking my addiction, right? And then even when I went to treatment, they're like, oh, like you don't need to be here. Like you weren't homeless, right?
Yeah.
Like were you even a junkie? And it's like, you don't have to be homeless to want to get clean. Like there's an analogy about an elevator. Like most people when they come to recovery, they get off after that elevator has crashed through the basement, exploded, whole life's burnt down, right? But I got off like my life had tanked, right? Like my son's mom left me and I was like, right? But like, I mean, I wasn't homeless, right? I had a car, right? I hadn't been like selling shit to like afford my addiction, and, right? So like, you don't have to be like at the bottom, right? And same with my brother, right? Like my brother got clean right after like buying an income apartment. That one they didn't even like live in. Him and my sister like pooled money and like bought an apartment for like a rental, right? And he was a total junkie, right? But we were never homeless, right? But he got off before it really tanked because he saw where it was going, right? And then so I did not as early as him. I went a little lower.
Yeah.
Right?
You gotta one up them, but
Yeah. Younger brother, right? So I gotta show him up a bit. But yeah, like don't ever question yourself if you feel like you need to go to a meeting and check out recovery, right? You're a member when you say you're a member. Nobody can take that away from you, right? I had people try to like be like, oh, you don't need to be here. It's like, dude, I've tried everything on my own, everything.
And
And it's never worked.
there's tradition 3, right? The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop using.
Yeah.
So technically you don't even have to be clean. You just, I mean, it's advised, it's suggested.
Yeah.
But like, it's like if you have the desire to stop using, if you're curious about it, like I have never not been fucking fully embraced and welcomed at a meeting. Like addiction doesn't discriminate and the people in recovery don't either. Like the program of NA does not discriminate. It says any religion, sex, domination, sexual identity, fucking creed.
Yeah.
Probably some other things I'm missing. But yeah, it's a group of people who have gone through the same shit. Maybe not the same stories, but guaranteed the same fucking feelings.
Yeah, like some of my best friends were like career criminals, right? And then also in the stories in the back of the basic text, right? Like you'll read those stories and there's like pieces that you can identify with every single one. There's like a story about like, I think a trans Brazilian stripper or something like that, right? Somewhere in there. And like there's pieces in that and be like, oh my God, like that's me.
Yeah.
Right? And like those, when I first read that book, it was super powerful, right? I identified with the first, like instantly with it, right? And then you get through all the step work and all like the traditions and like the program itself. And then when you get into like the personal stories written by addicts, right? You can see like, yeah, sure, like different walks of life, different happenstances, but the same feelings, the same patterns, the same like trying it on your own, right? The same just like utter depression and destruction and but then finally finding recovery and then finding relief in a group of like-minded people and then the one addict helping another, right? Like there's nothing like it.
There really isn't. And like there's the relief from it, but also the freedom. Like the freedom from active addiction and like the freedom of self. Because like I used to not even be able to look at myself in the mirror. Right? I was like, this guy's a monster. He's actually the devil. Yeah. Right? Like for real. That's what I thought. Like
and you were junkie Jesus and
I was junkie Jesus. Right? I was literally the Antichrist. And I struggled with that like a long time. And you know, I can look in the mirror and you know not cower at the reflection today. And recovery has given me that. This program has given me that. People like Warren have given me that.
People like Warren have given me that.
There you go. Born squared.
Yeah, man. So for anybody listening, it's never too late. It's never too early, right? I know people that got clean at like 14. They're still around today, taking 5-7 years. I know people that got clean at like 60, right? And it's never too late to change, like, and never too early, right? But like, if you're struggling, know that there is a better way. And it sounds culty as shit, but if you stick around, like, you'll make a friend. And then you stick around a little more, then you start laughing again. And then you stick around a little more, and then like you start having fun. And like, there's nothing else like it. And you can put off the steps for as long as you want, but that's where the real work is. And they say it's a simple program, right? There's a few things you got to do, but simple doesn't mean easy, right? It's fucking hard. And there's going to be times where you fucking hate it. And then times where you just resent it all and stop, right? But like, you stick with it, your life will change. And I've shared multiple times too about like, when I put my effort into recovery and I'm doing the things, right? Opportunities just like fall in my lap, right? But when I start like putting money, like energy and money into like opportunities, nothing happens, right? But the second I like reevaluate and then start doing all the stuff, things have just like come to me that I've been looking for, right? And it's just from like you call it networking in like the real world, right? But like here it's just like making friends, like, oh, you're a real estate agent.
Connection.
Like, no way. Like, I need to buy a house, right? Or like people like sell cars, or like there's literally from every walk of life. Like I was very materialistic in that. But like you'll meet like spiritual guru type people that do like sweat lodges or like meditation circles, right? That they've been doing for years. Like I'm going to the spring clean camp out, which I've like wanted to go to for so long, but I've always put it off because like other things are more important, right? But like me and my girlfriend are going, and I'm gonna have a blast, right? So it's like, yeah, if you're even hypothesizing that you might need to go check out a meeting, you probably do, and just keep going. And say the first time too, you don't have a good time, try again, right? Keep trying.
You got to keep on keeping on. Yeah. Can't have no in your heart. Life's a garden. Dig it. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming to the WarrZone. This is Warren, and thank you, Warren.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, please reach out. Please, if it's to someone you know, someone you see on the podcast, me, an addictions counselor, whoever, right? Maybe a prayer if you're into that. But you don't need to suffer alone, right? You're in a war right now, and there's a way out. There is a solution, and it starts with you. Thank you.
Now I got clean hands